Okay. Like I said, this is just a simple graphic for a package design that has all these different layers on it. I can temporarily hide this just to show this section to you, but it's trying to create this as a reflection, so every selection comes down. So these are the pieces. So when you drag this around, this becomes the image, but it's all separated on different layers. So I'm just going to duplicate them while they're still selected and go to New Group from Layers and just put this on the selection here so it has a piece in case I goof up on all these illustrations to it. So that's that part. So it has the shaded part, all these different key components that are here for this section here. Okay. So it's just these two layers. So once you establish that, if you kept them separate, that's fine, but it'll just give you this selection overhead, and I'm just going to create a layer above this to show you this section, and then try to reflect it on a piece. So the pen tool is very similar to this part. Make sure it's set as a path, and when you click on this, the only difference between Illustrator and Photoshop on that part is just the Option key to click to curve this. So when you want to set that, you have to hold the Option key in order to click it. So it doesn't have a lot of function, but it's pretty close. And this stays over in what this is the path palette on the left-hand side. So I'm just creating these shapes just to show it to you. So here's a straight, just click connecting these together. Makes that particular shape, so you end up with a number of them, and it's still in this working path that you have to save. I'm just going to go behind this a little bit, and like I said, just kind of treating this as a sketched in drawing like that. And if you need to modify any of the points, you can just take that tool right there and it'll modify it just to demonstrate that. And just come out here. So essentially you're making all the different selections, and again, just bringing that together. Okay, and just double click on this and just call this tabs and click OK. So just working on a layer above this selection, since I did move this, I'm going to take all of the selection of all these paths when you move it. See if I can grab all of these guys here and just move this up. And I can even rescale it a little bit to fit into here, because I did move the box after creating this, so trying to build this part up. This allows me to distort it, clicking the Command key, and build it up like that. Okay. And here's the Command key just to move these corners to option this up, so I can see everything in there and just hit return. So what I have is a new layer above it. I have the tabs key over here again. So when I select this, everything's highlighted. And there's direct selection and the path selection. So when I click on one of these items is highlighted. And what you can do is just start to build the color right from there. So there's the color that I'm choosing. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll try to do it from front to back if I can, and see if I can pull that off. So this one, here's the direct selection tool. Click off and then click back on this one using the eyedrop tool to grab that color and just filling it with that color. Okay, so it's just a matter of trying to keep your section about you. So here's the direct selection tool. Come down down to this bottom one. Scroll up a bit. Here's the options for that. And again, I'm actually putting it on one layer. You could benefit from putting it on two. I just wanted to show you how it could be done on the one layer. So that's kind of the three panels that you see. Okay. In fact, I'll just put a new layer above this just to make it a little bit easier to edit, since that's what it's allowing you to do. So that's this part right here with the eyedrop tool. Clicking down here in the bottom, there's a fill. Fills it with that color. Come back to get this tool. Click on this one. Eyedrop tool to grab this color and just fill it with that. So now you end up with a number of pieces right up into there. And that'll give you the selection there. So now I have all of this highlighted. It's on two layers, the top pieces and the bottom. I'm just going to click off of this panel. And now when you look at this, you can shade this. So for example, this background one, here's the layer selected, lock the pixels. And you can do it a couple of ways. You can paint right on it or just use the dodge and the burn tool. So here's the burn tool, just to show it to you. It lets you shadow that part. And if you click and hold the shift key, it will drag that piece across. And you can make the brush a little bit smaller. So it's just kind of showing you that. And again, whether you want to paint it, I can grab it, click with the paintbrush tool. The brackets make it a little bit bigger. And that allows me to establish that selection. The other idea is the magic wand tool, which the third tool down. When you select that, it'll select these items, and then I can click the brush tool, and it's just painting the pieces that are inside of this. So it's giving me that option. And all the parameters up here, so the opacity and everything you can change up here. Grab a different color, double click to open up the color picker. It allows you to paint with the colors. They're pretty good. And the magic wand, just shift keying to collect more of it, lets you grab that section right there. And you can use this polygon tool, option or plus, to enhance some of it. So here I've cut that part off, and now when I paint this, bigger brush with the brackets tool, I can bring that into a shadow. So it's just a quick way to kind of get that look to it. Inside, this selection's pretty dark. You can double click on this to get a lighter color and use the brush to lighten up just a little bit of that, so you can kind of see how that's brought together. And then I did put these two pieces on the front of this layer. You can lock their pixels as well and do the same thing with the brush, just kind of highlighting some of it, painting that dark a little bit. Let's see if I got the selection here, these two. And move. So I'm just going to free transform this, just make it a little bit smaller. Return. So now I have this layer with the brush tool. Lets me shade that. Lets me shade a little bit that way. So you can kind of get a pretty good definition of this part. Default that. So it builds up that section. And again, this selection here, you can highlight that and actually just move this up and over. You'll get that edge of that cardboard. So there's that piece, and if you hold this again with the option, but the command key with the option, it'll allow it to subtract. So you can actually do a couple things here. Oops. So here it's subtracted it, and I can hide those edges, take the brush, and use the white edge right there to try to get that thickness of the cardboard. So that gives you that look to it. Okay? So that's just using the paths to kind of make that selection. So if I didn't want to have that on there, I'd still come back to this box. And that's just these two layers. So I'm going to shift key these two and duplicate them. And shift key these two. And new group from layers. And this is going to be Sharpie Box Open. Click OK. And just for a simple version, let's see if this will do it. This is the open box. And with these two guys right here, I'm just going to do a reflection. So I'll shift key them together, move them on the page. I'm going to duplicate them again and go to a new group from layers and just call it reflection, just so I have a copy of each, even though it's in the same document. So I'll hide these two, which were the original. And so now these two I'm just going to merge together and see if I can't flip this. All I need is two sides of this, so it's pretty easy. So I just click here with the lasso tool, come down here, and it's on one layer. Here's the layer, so I'm just going to go to layer up at the top and go new and copy. And just to show it to you, I'll drag this down and just go highlight it, edit, transform, flip vertical. So it changes this direction. I'll just drop this down and hold the option and click this up to make that reflection. It returns. So now I have this reflection. If I go ahead and minimize this a little bit, you'll see that kind of reflected in there. So that's this piece up at the top. Do the same on the other one. I'll hide this so I can see what I'm doing. Go to this lasso tool right here and just go to layer, new from copy, and now I have this one, and I just go to the selection tool, flip vertical, just drop this down a little bit right to the corner, grab this corner with the option, command key, drop that up like so. Hit OK. So now I have these two reflective pieces. This one, I'm going to bring it back, select these two layers, merge them together, just slightly turn them off, and then put a layer mask with a gradient going from foreground to transparent. And now you can minimize some of the value, not that much. Percentage here. So it gives you that selection. So now it's just a reflected box on that surface. Okay? So you've gone from the box itself, the box with the opening, and now the box with the reflection.